Hey musicians, my name is Damien and I'm a pianist and composer. So today I'm going to be reacting and analysing Armada from the new DUNE album by Hans Zimmer. I had a lot of fun doing this with the first piece of the album, so I'm really excited to listen to all the other pieces too. So just like last time, I haven't heard this piece at all, so this is going to be my honest first time reaction to this piece. I do have a bit of an idea of what it might sound like just because I've listened to the first piece, but I'm really excited to see what Hans Zimmer does with this one. So just before we start, this is some background info on Armada, or League Armada. The League Armada was a space navy designed to protect League worlds. It had many local autonomous branches on several planets, such as the Seleucian militia. It seems to have been disassembled during the Butlerian Jihad, replaced by the Army of Jihad. However, the name Armada would still be used to describe the League forces. So it seems that this piece of music, Armada, will represent the League forces in one way or another. Okay, now I think I'm ready to have a listen. Oh, that's like sending chills down my spine. Oh, that sounds nice. That's very Hans Zimmer there, yep. Yeah, I really like that. That sounds so good. So first of all, this is a really awesome start to this piece. I love how quiet it is at the start. You're really like on the edge of your seat and just wondering what's going to happen next. And that really ramps it up when all the brass instruments come in and it's just so full of energy. I think one of the most unique things about this album is just the whole ambience of all the choir singing these different little, like in this part they're whispering. It just really adds to the whole eerie vibe. So we start off with this really quiet, eerie ambient sound, and then when the brass comes in, it's a very epic and kind of triumphant sound, which could represent the League Armada. So with the brass ensemble, it's a very epic sound, and we have this. And so we start off with those two smaller intervals, and that prepares us for the larger perfect fifth interval. Wow, that sounds epic. Okay, now we've got some strings in here. And you can hear that synthesizer in the background as well. That adds a really unique sound. There it is. It's kind of like an electric guitar sound. Okay, man, that was so good, that part. There's so much happening there, and it's a very full sound with, like, we have the strings, brass, the whole choir, the synthesizer in the background as well. And it's all in the very low register as well. So it's a very rich, deep sound as well. So I think what makes this part really exciting and full of energy is that we have these really slow moving parts with the brass and the strings and also the synthesizer. And then there's a lot of percussion and the voices, which have this like kind of ostinato rhythm in the background. So this contrast between the slow moving strings and brass and the percussive part and the voices as well makes it really interesting as well. And then in the background, there's that constant. And then the percussive bit disappears here. And we're just left with the the really slow moving part. So the other thing I want to say that I noticed with this piece and the Dream of Arrakis is that it's a very spatial, like you're very immersed in the whole soundscape. I honestly can't wait to watch this in the movies because I could just imagine the sound around you to really envelop you in the whole scene, the whole film. Okay, so there's a really good change of pace here. Okay, so we have that percussive element again with the slow moving brass. So that is an ostinato, that repeated rhythmic pattern there. Okay, it sounds like we've got bagpipes here. Some synthesized bagpipes. Okay, I really like that part. That was really unexpected turn. That little bit there, dun 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 dun, and it sounded like we had some bagpipes. It reminded me of the Highland Cathedral song. So that first little rhythm there in the, it kind of sounded like a piano in the bass. So that rhythm there, as I said before, is an ostinato, and it also uses syncopation. So syncopation is pretty much when we have an accented note which falls on an offbeat. So in this case, this accented note falls in between beats 2 and 3. So the other thing I was going to say is that we're changing tempo a lot. So tempo is just another word for speed of the piece. You might be more familiar with the word BPM, or beats per minute. This is a really good technique to use to keep the piece really moving, because you get used to one tempo and then we quickly change to a slower speed or a faster speed, and you're kind of thrown around with those different speeds. So the part with the bagpipes and like the percussive drums, there's also a drone in the bass register. What a drone does in music, it really just kind of glues everything together. It sets a good bass line for all the other instruments. Okay, so now I've changed to a slower tempo. Okay, what's going to happen here? Okay, so we have another rhythm coming up. Oh wow, what is that sound? That is insane. What? That is sounds so crazy. That was really weird. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that. Honestly, never heard something like that before. The sound design in this piece is just absolutely phenomenal, I think. After the bit with the bagpipes, there's like no beat really. We're kind of left in this like void of no rhythm or no percussion or beat to latch onto. You can't really predict what's going to come up next because we don't really have like a beat to go off. It's such a good contrast between the two really rhythmic parts. We've got such rhythmic drums, and then there's just like nothing. Just like really ambient stuff, and then we're introduced to another rhythm, so then we kind of like a bit happier because we got something to latch onto. That sound was a very raspy, nasally sound, and it's definitely got a human or at least a creature like sound to it, like some Himalayan throat singing. One thing that's often overlooked in composition is the actual sound design of the whole piece. A lot of film scores, we just use the orchestra kind of set sounds like strings, brass, woodwind, percussion. I really like how Hans Zimmer has really taken advantage of this sound design, because there's so many things you can do these days with synthesizers and doors and everything like that. Oh yeah. So it kind of sounds like a steel metallic drum there. And we've got some like metallic plucked strings. I like how we've really stepped down in terms of energy here, because there's been a lot happening before. It's definitely a lot less rhythmic here, so we're just kind of a bit more ambient. It's not really a solid beat to latch onto. Yeah, it's a really eerie vibe here. Okay, now we're just phasing out. Oh, we've got something. Sounds like a Himalayan throat singer again. Okay, there you go. So it's a really nice ending to that piece. We've hit the climax and then we're just like really easing out. The texture of the piece is a lot thinner. We had like the drone in the bass, kind of like an anchor to the piece. And then we have this eerie, mysterious steel drum in the background, kind of just like playing a melody. There's a contrast between those two. I also really like about this part is like there's instruments that kind of creep in and out. So you kind of just get a glimpse of them. I think my favorite part about the two pieces so far, and I think this is going to be in the whole album as well, is just the whole spatial sound of the pieces. Thank you so much for watching today. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of this track. And if you have any requests for film or video game music that I should listen to in the future, you can leave it down in the comments below as well. If you haven't seen my other reaction video, you can check it out here. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. See ya.